There is a certain depth to connection that is uniquely possible when two people share not only emotional spaces, but also physical and professional ones. Dating a coworker places you in an environment where you observe each other across multiple dimensions: how they think under pressure, how they navigate challenges, how they interact with others, and how they respond to both success and failure. This kind of proximity accelerates emotional intimacy because it allows you to see aspects of a person that are rarely visible in casual social settings. It is the shared experience of navigating the workday together, the triumphs, the frustrations, the small victories, that builds a layer of familiarity and admiration that conventional dating often cannot provide. When two people work together, they witness one another in contexts that reveal competence, resilience, and problem-solving skills. These are qualities that form the foundation of respect and attraction in any long-term partnership. Observing someone handle a difficult client, negotiate a tense situation, or support a colleague under pressure provides insight into character in ways that first dates or weekend outings rarely allow. The workplace becomes a stage for revealing authenticity. It is here, in the practical, everyday acts of competence and collaboration, that admiration can flourish into emotional intimacy. Shared experiences also create natural opportunities for bonding. Projects, deadlines, presentations, all these professional milestones carry emotional weight. When two people navigate them together, they create shared memories and a sense of we. This shared narrative fosters connection, a feeling that we are in this together, which strengthens trust and attachment. Unlike traditional dating, where intimacy may be constructed in isolated moments of conversation or curated social interactions, a workplace relationship allows intimacy to develop within real-world pressures and contexts. This produces a depth of understanding and a sense of reliability that can be profoundly compelling. The rhythm of the workday also plays a significant role. People often spend more waking hours with colleagues than with family or friends. This proximity provides repeated opportunities for small gestures of attention and care, whether it is offering help on a challenging task, checking in after a stressful meeting, or simply sharing a quiet laugh over a moment of relief. These interactions, though seemingly mundane, accumulate over time to create a rich tapestry of emotional connection. Every small act becomes a thread in the fabric of intimacy, reinforcing attachment and trust. There is also an element of mutual observation that enhances understanding. In social dating scenarios, people often present curated versions of themselves, emphasizing qualities they want their partner to notice. The workplace, however, tends to strip away these curated masks. Stress, deadlines, and collaboration reveal behaviors and tendencies that are authentic and spontaneous. You witness strengths, weaknesses, humor, and empathy in real time. This rawness allows both individuals to see each other more fully, which can accelerate emotional connection and create a bond grounded in reality rather than perception. The psychological impact of shared experiences should not be underestimated. Humans are wired to form attachments through repeated interactions and cooperative endeavors. When attraction intersects with professional collaboration, the mind begins to associate admiration for competence with emotional attachment. This is why workplace romances often feel intense. The combination of proximity, shared challenges, and observation of character stimulates both cognitive and emotional engagement simultaneously. In other words, attraction is amplified because it is layered over genuine respect and shared experience. However, this intensity is not accidental, it is structural. Every interaction in the workplace carries multiple layers of meaning. A compliment on a successful presentation, a thoughtful suggestion during collaboration, or a shared moment of stress and relief can be imbued with emotional resonance because it occurs in a context of mutual reliance and shared purpose. The very structure of work, deadlines, expectations, and interdependence creates fertile ground for admiration and attachment. In this sense, emotional intimacy is a natural byproduct of professional closeness when attraction is present. Yet, It is also worth reflecting on the responsibility that comes with this intimacy. Shared experiences can deepen connection, but they also intensify the emotional stakes. The very qualities that make workplace romance compelling, the observation of competence, shared challenges, and emotional investment can amplify vulnerability. This is not a reason to avoid such connections, but it is a reminder that emotional awareness and mindfulness are essential. Recognizing the depth of connection allows both individuals to navigate it consciously, appreciating the rewards while remaining attuned to potential challenges. Ultimately, the unique reward of dating a coworker is the ability to cultivate intimacy that is rich, multidimensional, and grounded in reality. The shared professional context offers insight, familiarity, and mutual respect that conventional dating rarely replicates. It provides a laboratory for emotional connection, where trust, admiration, and shared experience combine to create a bond that is both profound and resilient. So, when you find yourself drawn to someone you work with, remember this. The proximity and shared experience you have are not just circumstances, they are opportunities. Opportunities to see, understand, and appreciate each other in ways that go beyond superficial attraction. And in recognizing this, you can approach your connection not with casual curiosity, but with intention, awareness, and appreciation for the depth it offers. Because the richness of intimacy lies not only in desire, but in the shared experience of navigating life together, side by side. Once we acknowledge the rewards of dating someone you work with, we must confront the reality of the professional risks that accompany it. The workplace is a shared ecosystem, with rules, hierarchies, and expectations designed to maintain fairness, productivity, and trust. When two individuals enter into a romantic relationship within this environment, even subtly, the professional balance can be challenged in ways that are not always immediately visible. Understanding these risks requires us to look closely at boundaries, power dynamics, and the perceptions of those around us. Professional boundaries are the first and most obvious consideration. Workplaces rely on clear distinctions between personal and professional roles to ensure that decisions are objective and interactions remain respectful. When a romantic relationship develops between colleagues, these boundaries can blur. Decisions about collaboration, responsibilities, or recognition may be perceived, accurately or not, as influenced by personal feelings rather than merit. Even if both parties maintain complete professionalism, the perception alone can create tension within the team, affecting trust and cohesion. Power dynamics further complicate the equation. If one person holds authority over the other, whether as a manager, team lead, or someone who influences promotions or evaluations, the relationship enters ethically delicate territory. Hierarchy alters consent because the subordinate party may feel subtle pressure to conform or reciprocate in order to maintain favor or avoid professional consequences. The workplace does not only function on what is said explicitly, it operates on context, expectations, and unspoken influence. This is why many organizations have policies addressing relationships across hierarchical lines, not to inhibit human connection, but to protect both the individuals involved and the integrity of the professional environment. Even without formal power differences, dating a coworker can influence workplace dynamics in ways that ripple outward. Teams operate on perception as much as reality. Colleagues may notice your closeness, interpret private interactions as favoritism, or speculate on the nature of your relationship. Gossip and narrative construction are social forces that exist in every group, particularly where people work closely day after day. What begins as private intimacy can quickly become a topic of scrutiny, subtly influencing how others perceive your competence, professionalism, and reliability. Another risk lies in the emotional consequences if the relationship falters. Breakups are inherently challenging, but when they occur within the confines of a shared workspace, the consequences extend beyond the personal realm. Tension, awkwardness, and discomfort may affect collaboration, communication, and even career satisfaction. Unlike relationships outside the workplace, there is no easy way to create distance or take space for emotional processing without disrupting routines or professional responsibilities. Emotional resilience becomes critical, as both parties must navigate their personal feelings alongside ongoing professional obligations. The workplace also amplifies the visibility of behavior in ways that can intensify consequences. Private disagreements, subtle expressions of irritation, or changes in demeanor are often observed by colleagues, consciously or unconsciously, who may then integrate these observations into judgments about professionalism. Even small missteps can be magnified, and the relational stakes are heightened because your interactions carry both personal and professional weight simultaneously. In this sense, the workplace functions as a magnifying glass, revealing both strengths and vulnerabilities in the relationship and in the individuals involved. It is important to recognize that these risks are not intended to discourage relationships, but to illuminate the complexity of the environment in which they exist. Attraction and connection are natural, and many workplace romances flourish successfully. The difference lies in awareness. Understanding potential consequences allows both individuals to act intentionally, to communicate clearly, and to establish boundaries that safeguard both the relationship and the professional context. One practical approach is establishing explicit agreements about professional behavior. This might include clarifying how personal dynamics will intersect with teamwork, decision-making, and communication with colleagues. Transparency, when handled carefully, can mitigate the perception of favoritism and reduce misunderstandings. Mutual accountability in maintaining boundaries ensures that the relationship supports both emotional fulfillment and professional integrity. Another strategy is cultivating situational awareness. Observe how interactions are perceived by others, remain mindful of power dynamics, and anticipate situations that could create conflicts of interest or tension. Awareness is not about policing feelings, but about understanding the ripple effect of personal behavior within the shared social and professional ecosystem. It is about acting with intentionality, recognizing that your relationship exists within a context that demands respect for both individuals and the broader team. Ultimately, professional risks in workplace dating are a reflection of the broader interplay between personal desire and social systems. They remind us that intimacy does not exist in isolation. It interacts with structures, perceptions, and responsibilities. Awareness and mindfulness transform potential pitfalls into opportunities for thoughtful engagement, where both emotional connection and professional integrity can coexist. So, as you consider a relationship with someone you work with, remember this. The stakes are higher not to deter connection, but to invite conscious navigation. Boundaries, power, and perception are not barriers. They are elements to respect and manage. The true test is not whether attraction exists, but whether you can honor both your feelings and the shared professional space. When approached with care, awareness, and responsibility, the risks can be managed, and the relationship can thrive in a way that strengthens both personal intimacy and professional respect. One of the most challenging aspects of dating someone you work with is the question of visibility. Unlike relationships outside the office, where intimacy can exist largely in private spaces, a workplace romance inevitably exists within a social ecosystem that is both public and interdependent. Even if the relationship is discreet, colleagues notice patterns of behavior, small gestures, shared laughter, attentiveness, or collaboration that signal something beyond professional connection. The visibility of a workplace relationship is rarely complete or total, yet it carries significant implications for reputation, team dynamics, and trust. People are natural storytellers. We interpret the world around us by creating narratives, and the workplace is no exception. When colleagues observe interactions that suggest closeness, they begin to fill in the gaps. Perhaps they see frequent one-on-one meetings, exchange smiles, or subtle attentiveness during team discussions. Even if these moments are innocent, observers often speculate about their meaning, and these speculations can take on a life of their own. Gossip may emerge, not necessarily malicious, but inevitably human, shaping perceptions and influencing relationships in subtle ways. The more visible the connection, the more narrative it generates. Visibility also changes the stakes for both parties in a relationship. In private contexts, emotional risk is largely confined to the individuals involved. In the workplace, however, every interaction is amplified through the lens of social perception. A disagreement can ripple outward, affecting collaborative efforts or the sense of cohesion in a team. Celebrations of success can be misinterpreted as favoritism. Even casual touches or private jokes may be misread, creating tension among colleagues. The relationship does not exist in isolation. It exists as part of a web of professional interdependencies, and this reality demands careful consideration and deliberate awareness. The consequences of workplace visibility are particularly pronounced when hierarchy or power differences are present. A relationship between a manager and a subordinate, for example, is never simply personal. It is inherently observed through professional lenses. Colleagues, rightly concerned about fairness and equity, may scrutinize decisions, promotions, or project assignments for signs of bias. Even relationships between peers, where authority differences are less overt, are subject to interpretation. Teams are highly sensitive to perceived alignment, loyalty, and favoritism. In this environment, managing visibility is not about secrecy or deception. It is about maintaining clarity, trust, and professionalism while navigating personal connection. Managing visibility requires intentionality and emotional intelligence. It begins with understanding how your actions are perceived. Small behaviors, shared glances, lingering conversations, frequent check-ins may seem insignificant in isolation, but in aggregate, they create a pattern that colleagues notice. By observing these patterns, individuals can calibrate their interactions to minimize misunderstandings while still maintaining authenticity. This is not about suppressing emotional expression. It is about communicating responsibly in a shared environment. Communication is also essential in navigating visibility. Both parties must agree on how to manage interactions in public and professional spaces. Are certain gestures or discussions reserved for private contexts? How will collaboration, meetings, and informal interactions be conducted to maintain professional integrity? Setting these parameters ensures that both individuals retain agency over the relationship while mitigating the impact on the broader team. Transparency within the couple, though not necessarily broadcast to the workplace, helps prevent unconscious behaviors from creating tension or mistrust. It is equally important to recognize that visibility can offer benefits as well as challenges. When managed thoughtfully, a visible, professional relationship can humanize both partners and model respectful collaboration. Colleagues may appreciate the honesty and integrity with which the relationship is conducted. Shared emotional support can translate into smoother teamwork, clearer communication, and increased resilience under pressure. Visibility, when approached with maturity, can enhance both personal connection and professional functioning rather than undermining it. Yet, the emotional burden of visibility cannot be ignored. Workplace relationships are subject to constant observation, interpretation, and potential scrutiny, which can heighten anxiety, self-consciousness, or fear of judgment. These pressures are subtle but persistent, influencing interactions, decision-making, and even the experience of intimacy. Being aware of this emotional landscape allows both partners to develop strategies for managing stress, maintaining perspective, and protecting their connection from external noise. Ultimately, the visibility of a workplace relationship is both a mirror and a filter. It reflects your behaviors, emotional patterns, and communication, while filtering them through the perceptions, assumptions, and narratives of others. This duality is neither inherently negative nor positive. It is a reality to navigate with awareness. Success lies in balancing authenticity with discretion, personal connection with professional responsibility, and emotional expression with social perception. So, when you consider dating someone at work, remember that your relationship exists not only between the two of you, but also within a wider social network. The moments you share are visible, interpreted, and often discussed, whether overtly or subtly. Recognizing this reality invites a deeper level of awareness, an understanding that emotional intimacy must be paired with professional integrity, and that the way we navigate visibility shapes both our relationships and the environment in which they exist. Because how we manage what is seen is as important as what is felt, and mastering this balance allows personal connection to flourish without compromising the trust and cohesion that sustain the professional world. Navigating the risks and rewards of dating a coworker ultimately comes down to awareness, communication, and deliberate choice. The workplace is a complex ecosystem full of professional expectations, social norms, and interdependent relationships. Bringing a romantic connection into that space magnifies both the opportunities for deep intimacy and the potential for misunderstanding or conflict. The difference between a relationship that thrives and one that falters often lies in how consciously both partners engage with the reality of the environment around them. At the heart of a successful workplace romance is self-awareness. This begins with understanding your own motivations, desires, and boundaries. Why are you drawn to this person? What do you hope to gain from the relationship? Are your feelings a reflection of genuine compatibility, or are they amplified by the proximity, shared stress, and daily collaboration inherent in your work? Being honest with yourself is essential because self-deception can obscure risks, exaggerate rewards, and lead to decisions that feel compelling in the moment but are unsustainable over time. Awareness allows you to see both the emotional rewards and the professional stakes clearly, enabling decisions grounded in reality rather than impulse. Equally important is mutual communication. A relationship at work requires transparency between the partners about expectations, boundaries, and strategies for maintaining professionalism. How will you navigate public interactions without fueling gossip or undermining trust among colleagues? How will personal disagreements be managed without letting them spill into shared professional responsibilities? How will boundaries between work and private life be respected? These conversations are not just practical, they are ethical. They demonstrate a commitment to integrity, both to each other and to the professional environment in which you operate. Boundaries themselves are another cornerstone of conscious workplace dating. Setting limits does not diminish intimacy, it protects it. Boundaries might include agreeing on when and where personal interactions are appropriate, how to manage communications during working hours, or how to navigate shared projects. They are not constraints to dampen desire, but structures that allow the relationship to exist without compromising performance, trust, or the perception of fairness. Boundaries also help each partner maintain autonomy, ensuring that the relationship grows out of genuine connection rather than dependency or proximity alone. Self-awareness, communication, and boundaries converge to create a form of deliberate presence. Both partners must constantly evaluate the impact of their choices, not only on themselves, but on the wider team and professional context. A misjudged interaction, an overheard conversation, or an emotional spillover can have repercussions that ripple beyond the couple. Conversely, thoughtful engagement allows the relationship to coexist with professional responsibilities, to enhance mutual support, and even to model respectful and healthy connection within the workplace. This requires emotional intelligence, the capacity to perceive, interpret, and respond to both personal and social cues with mindfulness and care. Managing the delicate balance between personal fulfillment and professional integrity also involves reflection on long-term consequences. Workplace relationships are rarely insulated. They evolve within networks of relationships, power structures, and shared histories. Awareness of how the relationship might affect career progression, team dynamics, and social perception is crucial. It is not about fear or restriction, but about seeing the full picture and making conscious choices that align with both emotional and professional priorities. In this sense, a workplace romance becomes an exercise in ethical and emotional discernment. Rewards exist in parallel with these risks, and deliberate navigation allows them to flourish. Dating a coworker can strengthen emotional intimacy, deepen trust, and create a shared sense of purpose. Being with someone who understands your professional challenges, shares daily experiences, and witnesses your growth provides a form of connection that is rare and profound. The proximity that creates risk also amplifies the potential for admiration, empathy, and mutual support. Approached thoughtfully, these rewards can enhance both the relationship and the work environment, creating synergy between personal fulfillment and professional achievement. The ultimate measure of success in dating a coworker lies in balance. It is the ability to engage fully in the relationship while remaining attentive to the professional context, to honor both the private and public dimensions of your lives, and to communicate with clarity and integrity. This balance is not static. It requires ongoing reflection, adjustment, and responsiveness to changing circumstances. Yet it is also deeply rewarding. It transforms a potential source of conflict into a space for growth, emotional intelligence, and intimacy. So, when you consider pursuing a workplace romance, remember this: the rewards and risks are intertwined, inseparable from the environment in which the relationship exists. Awareness allows you to see clearly, communication allows you to navigate responsibly, and boundaries allow you to protect both personal and professional integrity. By approaching the relationship with conscious intention, you create the possibility for connection that is both deeply fulfilling and sustainably ethical. Because in the end, the choice is not simply between desire and caution. It is about embracing connection with presence, understanding, and integrity, learning to cultivate intimacy without compromising the very structures that make your professional life meaningful. And in that delicate, intentional balance, you discover not only the rewards of romantic connection, but also the power of conscious, ethical living in every sphere of life.